The house on Willow Lane. It was a cold autumn evening when Sarah and her younger brother Timmy moved into the old house at the end of Willow Lane. The place had been empty for years, at least that's what the neighbours said, but there was something about it that felt different. Something that made Sarah's skin crawl every time she stepped inside. The wind howls through the trees, making the windows rattle. The house, with its peeling paint and darkened windows, seemed to whisper secrets in the night. Sarah had always been a skeptic, but even she couldn't ignore the unsettling feeling that something was wrong. Still, she pushed those thoughts aside. After all, they had nowhere else to go. One evening, as they were unpacking the last of the boxes in the attic, Timmy found an old dusty box hidden behind a pile of forgotten furniture. Inside, wrapped in yellowed cloth, was a small tarnished mirror. The moment Timmy touched it, the temperature in the room dropped, and the once silent house seemed to breathe. "Timmy, Sarah, look at this. It feels strange." Sarah took the mirror from him, her fingers brushing the cold surface. She immediately felt dizzy, as if the world around her was shifting. But when she looked into the mirror, she didn't see her reflection. She saw a pair of hollow, empty eyes staring back at her. Suddenly there was a sound, a whisper, soft at first but growing louder. "Voice, let me in." Sarah dropped the mirror in horror. It shattered on the wooden floor, sending shards flying in all directions. But that's when they heard it, the sound of footsteps above them in the attic. Timmy looked at Sarah, his face pale with fear. Timmy, panicking. "There's no one up there. I don't think we're alone." With every step, the house seemed to groan louder, the very foundation trembling as though it were alive. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest. She grabbed Timmy's hand and pulled him toward the stairs, but before they could leave, the attic door slammed shut, locking them in. Then the whispers began again. Only now they weren't coming from the mirror. They were all around them, echoing through the walls. Voice, louder, more frantic. "Let me in! Let me in!" Suddenly the attic light flickered, casting eerie shadows against the walls. The door trembled as something began to scratch at it, clawing, scraping, desperate to break through. Timmy screamed, his voice cracking. "Timmy, we have to get out of here!" With a surge of adrenaline, Sarah grabbed the nearest object, a broken chair leg, and smashed it against the door. But before they could escape, the light went out, plunging them into darkness, and in that suffocating blackness they heard it. A voice, low and raspy, right behind them. Voice, whispering just above her breath, "I'm already in." The next morning, when the neighbors came to check on Sarah and Timmy, the house was silent. Too silent. The door to the attic stood wide open, but there were no signs of them, no trace of their presence at all. Only the mirror remained, still intact. But now, when you look into it, you don't see your reflection, you see them, waiting.